Hey guys, Steve from PC Budget Solutions here, and almost done. Tests are almost done. I have a couple more I want to run. I ran into some interesting issues across the board, so I'm digging a little bit further, running some more tests. So the tests are almost done. You guys will be seeing them in 1 minute, but it is the $500 cheapskate build, which is a $500 gaming PC with Windows, built brand new, versus a computer that's about 2 years old, purchased off Craigslist for about the same price, right around $500. And we are doing head-to-head, and the conclusion, I think, is going to be very interesting. You guys are not going to expect it. So without further ado, let's get to the benchmarks. Okay guys, here it is. Let's get started. So the question is you have $500 to spend. You know how to build a computer. Should you go on Amazon or Newegg and buy a bunch of parts and put it together? Or should you trust somebody's computer that's 2 years old off Craigslist that might be a little bit more powerful, but is going to have no warranty on the products, may not work, hopefully you can test it, and you hope it wasn't misused. So that's the $1 million question. Performance, we're going to take a look at, but there's more to the story than just that. So let's take a look at the systems. This is the brand new rig, a G4560 3.5 gigahertz dual core with hyper-threading. Very, very, very important to note, with hyper-threading. That makes a big difference. It can actually turn on Watch Dogs. It has 4 threads. B250 board from ASRock, so I didn't have to update the BIOS. I don't have a spare chip. 8 gigs of Kingston HyperX memory, 2400 megahertz DDR4, EVGA GTX 1050, 2 gig. A little bit of foreshadowing. If I had to do this again, I would change that, and I'll talk about it at the very end. Seasonic power supply, great quality, 275 gig M.2 SSD, Crucial MX300 in a case. Now, this is what I bought from a guy for $500. Intel Core i5-4460. It is a 3.2 gigahertz quad core, a decent ASRock H97 board, 8 gigs of DDR3 memory as well, EVGA GTX 960 4 gig, a little bit of foreshadowing again. This made me make some choices on how I wanted to run the games, and I'll go over that as we get to those games. An okay power supply. I do like it a lot, but there's better out there, but I'll take it. A SanDisk SSD, hard drive, case, DVD burner, etc. So let's take a look at some synthetics. First, 3D Mark Firestrike. So 32 FPS is what this rated at. I think it's like 3196 versus 38. So the graphical test definitely ran away with the 960, about 10-15%. Physics and combined, mind you, we're going all out on the CPU on these two. They were very, very, very close. So that's surprising, looking at a dual core hyper-threading versus a quad core. You know, 3 generations later, really impressed with the Pentium for what it cost. Heaven benchmark, pretty much dead even across the board. This is an older benchmark, 1080p Ultra 2x anti-aliasing. This was to be expected. Valley benchmark, very similar story, a little bit higher on the GTX 960 with the i5. You know, also 1080p Ultra 2XAA, nothing crazy. Let's start the gaming benchmarks now. So, World of Warcraft, settings level 7. Now, I'm going to link up here the video of where I did a quick live stream. And I was running into some issues with 7. I was getting under 30 FPS in a dungeon. I changed that to 5, and I tripled my frame rate. 6 was the sweet spot, but the i5 and the GTX 960 just they ran away with it. It did significantly better. And we're talking 20% difference in frame rate. And you know, definitely if you're a WoW player, keep this in mind. But let's take a look at the next game here. So Battlefield 1, I ran high settings. I didn't want to go any higher because I was running out of VRAM. I talked to you guys about the choices I had to make. So I went with high, and they're very close, within under 10%, closer about 7 or 8. You know, really did not expect that this chip could run high settings at that level. I was very, very, very surprised. So very happy with that. Next one, Watch Dogs 2. The 960 could have pushed high settings, no problem. It definitely was a little bit more CPU bound, but the 1050 would not do high settings, not enough VRAM. So as I told you guys, I had to make some choices. This was a choice that I had to make. So, you know, really didn't surprise me much with Watch Dogs 2. GTA 5. The 4460 ran away with it, no doubt, with the 960. The 1050 in the Pentium dual core, I did have a higher maximum, a lower minimum, and a lower average. Again, you know, more than 10% to be expected. I ran DirectX 10, also due to VRAM. But there's more. So I alluded to this earlier, and that is I would have changed up the GPU had I gone back and known kind of what I was getting myself into, spend a little bit more. Here is World of Warcraft with the G4560 7th Gen Kaby Lake processor with the 960. It scored higher by more than 10 frames per second than the i5. So let's go back to this. So we're looking at 53 on the average versus 69. We're talking almost a 20% increase. That IPC difference is huge. So here's my final thoughts. What did we learn? It really depends on what you're looking to buy, how much, and what is on the market. I've seen things pop up for some great deals. I've gotten some great deals. So I'm not going to say you should always build from scratch that you're going to get the best value. But it really depends on what is out there on the market, how close you live to a city, and things of that nature. So the safe way is always just to build a new computer. Unless you have a really low budget, you can get something that'll game. It may not game at the highest level, but it will game. You'll have a warranty on all of your products. You'll be able to pick the quality of everything if you have a specific brand or color scheme. But another thing that I learned is I should have done a little bit more research. I could have trimmed off a couple dollars in a couple different areas, including maybe going with a 240 gig SSD to save another $15. I had about $30 in the budget. I could have gone an RX 470, and there is not a doubt in my mind that with an RX 470, my system would have ran head to head and beaten the Craigslist system hands down, because as I proved, it was a GPU bottleneck, not a CPU bottleneck. The newer Kaby Lake chip in many scenarios will do as good or better depending on how the game's designed. So, what should you do? Well, you gotta do your research. You gotta see what's out there. But a couple things to consider when you're buying a computer off Craigslist. You want to make sure that it works, but you may not want to meet there. They may not want to meet at your house. You know, there's definitely safety risks with buying off Craigslist. You got to be careful. Things may not work very long, may have been misused, put on carpet, overclocked to an unsafe level with overvolting. There can be a lot of things that can go wrong. So you could be spending a lot of money fixing things down the road. So it's really up to you guys. Personally, I buy stuff off Craigslist and get a lot of great deals all the time. But it's not always the safest and most reliable way. There's no warranty on this product. So I would err on the side of caution and say go with the new build if you can afford it. But what is up next on the chopping block for us? I'm going back to Craigslist because there's a lot of good deals there. Under $300, $300 or less. That's shipped, that's tax, that's Windows off Kingwin, because you can good deal on there, etc. $300 or less, and I'm going to pin it up against the results that I showed you guys today. I don't think the hardware is as good, but let's see what we can do for $300 versus $500. Speaking of Kingwin, a couple ways you guys can support us using my affiliate code with Kingwin or Amazon. Any of your purchases that you guys make will help us raise funds to make more videos, to buy more equipment, to bring more videos to you guys. So would really appreciate it. If you're not looking to purchase anything in the near future, what you can also do is like the video, share it, and subscribe to our channel, because it really helps us out a lot. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I cannot wait to bring the next video to you guys. And this is Steve from PC Budget Solutions, and I will see you down the road.